The organization that I chose for this project off of my list is an organization called Life Path Ministries. Life Path Ministries is an organization made up of thrift stores and a mission. There are 4 thrift stores that are located in York County, and then there is also the mission that's in the city of York. The thrift stores offer clothing, shoes, household items, different things of that nature, and it also sets up clothing and item collection bins around the county. The mission is out in the city, and they offer 2 hot meals a day to anyone who comes in, regardless of their income status. The person that I talked to during this was Courtney Tillman, and she's the office manager. A couple of her job opportunities and responsibilities and the things that she's required to do. She answers the phones in the office, she pays the bills and does other things with the accounting. She sets up the delivery and implementation of the clothing bins. She also will reach out. She's doing outreach to different organizations to see if there are more places in the county that they can set up their bins. She also sets up the free pickup at home of items that are too large to bring to the bins, or maybe people don't have the resources to hold them themselves. The description of the partnership with the schools, currently she's working with a local school district, and they bring in some of their special education students to learn how to be meaningful members of the community, learn life skills, learn work skills, different things of that nature. They are tasked with things like stocking the shelves. They will take things on and off the floors as they are asked, but right now that is the main partnership that the agency has. So what kind of partnerships are available, though? A couple different ones here. Talking about the partnership that they have with the school and the students, I don't want to touch on that one really again in too much detail, because I pretty much in the last section told you about that. But there are actually services where the thrift store offers that you can do like a clothing drive or a food drive. The clothing drive would be set up through the school and with the outreach person, office manager, where they will do like a weekly clothing drive, collect clothes, and then the office manager will schedule a time for a truck driver to come out and pick up the clothes from the clothing drive. If you decide that you wanted to maybe do a food drive because you are looking to support the mission rather than the thrift store, you can do a food drive. Sorry, I'm sitting outside, and there's some bugs. You could do a food drive, but that unfortunately will all need to be transported into the city by personnel at the district. They don't have someone who will come around and pick up any food items. But they also have the bins that they have around during the week. I briefly touched on those. They are big donation bins where you can put you can put clothing, household items, shoes, different things like that. They set them up different places around the county, and then they pick up the items from the bins. Depending on where they're located, they're picked up weekly. They pick up items on Wednesdays and on Saturdays, so it depends on where your location is, what day you would get that picked up. And then it targets all of the student and family population really in the school district, like all of them, from elementary school the whole way up to graduation. Because they're always cleaning and getting rid of things. People are trying to get rid of their household items. I'm actually in a couple of Facebook groups where it's like a buy nothing place, and they're just trying to get rid of stuff for free. So if they're going to do that, I feel like it would be beneficial that they could just take the clothes around to these bins. And if they're at the school, and maybe they are at the school for a different event, or they're at the high school for something rather than one of the elementary schools, they will have access to the bins everywhere. Like, there's always going to be access to the bins. Let's see here. How can students and families benefit? Same thing I basically just said. They can go to the thrift store and actually purchase the clothing that's been donated, the household items. They look for name brand. They look for like new conditions. They have it inspected 3 times by 3 different people before it actually hits the floor. So rather than those items going into the landfill, they're able to be donated and then repurchased for less than at a regular retail store. I mean, I actually envision the services being delivered and students to students and families by working with LifePath to get bins set up at each of my school district, or each of the schools in my district. I was actually talking to the office manager about that this morning during our call. So that is what I envision to see that. I envision getting bins for my district. A couple barriers. We might have a couple. In order to have an effective partnership, there might be some limited resources, lack of awareness. Right now, I only know of a few locations of those LifePath clothing bins, but if we can get out there and outreach and maybe get some scheduling done, we can get more of those bins out and we can bring more awareness to people. And then in order to overcome some of those obstacles or barriers, we can plan to implement outreach strategies. Like I was talking with the office manager, and we were talking about different ways to outreach or tell the community or tell different people. You got to enhance that communication with the stakeholders. So I'll talk about that here in a little bit, but you have to enhance that communication. And then you always have to make sure that you're developing programming that's flexible so that it can switch and pivot if the needs of families and students become different over the next couple of years. As far as the key stakeholders, it's going to be a few administrators from my school district and then the office manager at the thrift store. I need to first develop a partnership by reaching out about the services. Done. And then the next thing I need to do is look into the services they provide, half done, the bins, and then I need to look into see what that would take to do in order to set those up at my school. So I would need to talk to my principal, other administrators, maybe even reach out to the superintendent to see if that's something that she would be interested in getting to our schools. But we could look at getting this set up in the parking lots, and then we can maintain this partnership, maintain it. That's super important. But always making sure there's open lines of communications, not only about the bins, but if there's anything else going on in the community, that we can talk about that a little bit as well. And then specifically for the bins, measuring the success of this partnership, there's actually a program that LifePath offers, like a partnership program. So if they set up the bins at my school, I have 6 schools in the district, 4 elementaries, a middle, and a high school. So I was looking at least at the elementary level, but if they're willing to do 4, I might as well just ask if I could get them at all the buildings, because elementary students happen to be at the high school or the middle school or their sports events, and then they can bring donations to that, and they don't have to wait for a special event happening at the school, like an arts and crafts night or a family fun night. So we are looking at partnering, so we can determine the success, measure the success by partnering with them. So what happens is when we partner with them, they bring a bin to the parking lot, and then every week they'll come back to the bin and empty it with whatever is in there and keep track of everything that's in the bin and everything that was donated. They'll put a monetary value on everything that you were donated, and then at the end of the quarter, you get reimbursed, so to speak, for lack of a better word, or incentivized or rewarded with some gift cards, dependent on how much donations were given. So they'll give you like a percentage of how much is donate. The gift cards are actually for LifePath, not like Visa gift cards or anything like that. They're for the thrift stores, so they can be given away to families in need. They can be raffled off to teachers who might need something. They can be given to teachers for like incentives, gifts, giveaways. LifePath might sell clothing and shoes, but they also have all kinds of household items and things that we could use in our classrooms. So I feel like the biggest measure of success would be to see what that gift card looks like at the end.